My mom never wanted to tell her story until now. What you're about to hear is a recording I took of her, talking about what happened in 1985. It was a rainy night at our farmhouse in Maine, but something came from me and my baby brother while we were asleep. She was the only one who could protect us. This was her encounter.
We were living up in Cornville, Maine. I was exercising in my kitchen, and all of a sudden all the lights went out. So I grabbed the 38 Special out of the cabinet, which I kept in the kitchen, grabbed it and ran across the house, because it was a big, long house. Ran across it and sat with the kids, and I could hear movement on the porch, and my dog was outside, was barking. And I saw these little figures, like little grayish white figures. It was pouring out at the time, and it like scampering around on the porch, making no noise, looking through the windows. And I heard a door slam upstairs because it was a big old farmhouse, but we didn't use the upstairs. So my hand is on the gun button. My hand is like literally blistering. And I just yelled out, I said, I have a gun and I'm gonna use it. I'm gonna ask questions later. I'm gonna shoot and ask questions later. And then I heard another door slam upstairs. And all of a sudden I hear my husband's truck coming up the driveway. The minute the lights turned the corner, the lights all came back on in the house and the dog stopped barking. And it was just very strange because the minute that Greg came into the house, I collapsed into his arms and told him what happened. That these creatures were all over the porch and I had the gun. He had to take the gun, pry it from my hand, because that's how I would not let the gun go because I was so afraid. They just disappeared after.
My mom thought that night was the end of it, but it wasn't. Because what she didn't know was that something else was watching her. Not the beings from her encounter, but something far more human and far more unsettling. In the years before I was even born, men in black suits began stalking her every move. Always dressed the same, always silent, always watching. This is where things took an even stranger turn. My mom came to me a lot and told me these things that happened to her before I was born. Before she met my dad, she was dating random high school guys. Men in black used to come up to them and threaten them and tell them to leave her alone and not go near her. These boyfriends would come to her and say, I want nothing to do with this. My mom would be like, what's the matter? And they'd tell her that these men in black suits would come up and threaten them and say that if they ever went near her again, they would regret it. So I was very concerned hearing this as a child. Then she said there were times where these men in black would take pictures of her when she was young before meeting my dad. And they would just take these pictures with long, as a paparazzi cameras, is what she called them. Another thing is when my mom said that she started to meet my dad, she was surprised that they didn't chase after him and tell him to go away. So for a while I started to think, are we some kind of government experiment? What is with these men in black and why do they keep following my mom? Of all people. This didn't end. My dad witnessed this as well. He also confirmed to me about this and he said he remembers many times where this happened. Men in black would randomly just start taking pictures of my mother. He thought that was very weird. He didn't understand that. My dad didn't know. And he still to this day has no idea what that was. And what happened next on a dark stretch of highway was something my parents never forgot, because they would soon realize they weren't alone. She starts telling me this one time that they were driving on the highway from Boston to Maine, and it was the middle of the night. They were listening to music, and all of a sudden this black car drives up alongside of their truck, my dad's truck, in the middle of the highway, no one else around. And the windows were tinted, Mom said, but when the window came down, a giant camera was peeking out, and all of a sudden you heard, that's what she said. And my dad was like, what is going on? And then he sees a hand go like this to my dad. And so that meant for my dad to move out of the way and so that he could get pictures. Either way, Mom started giving peace signs and I don't know. This is my mother. And they're doing the peace signs and my dad joins in and starts doing peace signs and they're being hippies. And then all of a sudden, this car just drives off at a higher speed And that was it. About the time I was born, my mom was alone at my dad's tiny glass shop in Maine when a man in a perfect black suit walked in. But he wasn't human. His face looked like a mask trying and failing to look old. And the second he smiled at her, she knew he hadn't come to buy glass. He'd come for her. And another one was when my mom was working at this little tiny glass company in the middle of Nowheresville, Maine. There's literally no one out there but my dad's little tiny glass company that he had started for himself. My mom was working at, and my dad had went out to do some errands, but my mom was left at the company to take any orders or anything like that. I was just born. I was in a drawer somewhere because we didn't have a crib yet, but my mom kept me there at the office, and that's also where they were living, by the way. So my mom was working, and this gentleman drives up in a black car, black tinted windows, she described it as, and he came in to this shop, and she thought he looked very odd, like he was wearing a mask almost. Like, she said his face didn't look human, like it looked like it had prosthetics, and he had a British accent, and he came up to my mother with a cane, fine suit, black suit, and she said she said that he went up to her and basically said, "Oh, it's such a pleasure to meet you." Takes my mother's hand to shake her hand. Kept saying it was such a pleasure to meet you. Asked her a bunch of questions about stuff and if she was happy. And that's what my mom was saying to me. I mean, I'd have to have my mom tell the story better, but she remembers it better than I do. But that's that. So we have a man that isn't human looking. That's what my mom described, is that he looked like a young man pretending to be old. So he had a mask on, something like prosthetics, she said. But this was really good prosthetics, because she said it was like, it's the 80s, and who had this kind of stuff, in the middle of Maine. She thought it was very suspicious too. He came out of nowhere. At that time, she thought it was some celebrity or something. She didn't know who it was. Didn't know that this was connected in any way to possibly this strange Men in Black situation. This man was not threatening. He was very loving and caring to my mother. In fact, kind of excited to see her, or meet her really, just kind of appreciating the moment he was having with her. So I thought that was very odd. I, for a while, thought maybe he's from the side of the family that gave my mom up for adoption, and thought maybe that this was part of that. And for a while I started to think maybe this is government, Maybe she was the child of a political figure. And I don't know, this went through my mind a lot when I was a kid before having more experiences later. And before I end this video, I want you to see the people behind the story. These aren't just characters, they're my parents, my family, my life. These are the real photographs from my childhood, the real faces, the real memories that shaped the experiences I'm sharing with you today. I'm just a normal person with a family like anyone else, but the things that happened to us, they were anything but normal. And this was only the beginning. My mom's encounter at the glass shop, the black car, the man in the perfect suit, all of it happened before I was even old enough to understand the world I was born into. But as I grew up, things didn't stop. They followed me, they watched, and eventually, they stepped directly into my life in ways I could never ignore. I have more stories, moments that changed everything I thought I knew about reality, about who I am, and about what's really out there. Some of them terrifying, some of them beautiful, all of them true. If you want to hear what happened next, stay with me, because the real story is just getting started. If you all really like this content and you want to hear more, please hit the like button down below. Don't forget to do that, because that really helps me out. Again, I'm not expecting anyone to believe me. You absolutely don't have to. In fact, share your own stories or leave your theories down below. That's perfectly fine, because it's really hard to believe. All of it. In fact, if I never went through it, I would have never believed any of this. I didn't even believe my mom. So, why would you believe me? But some of you, no, there's something else out there. You've had your own experiences, and You probably have seen the same things I've seen. There always has to be light to balance out the darkness, so choose wisely. Don't forget to keep looking up, and I'll talk to you all soon. Thank you.